Coming to you live from the White Picket Studios in Houston, Texas, this is the Realty Ruckus. If you are in any way, shape, or form involved in the real estate industry, this is the show for you. And now, your host, Alan Hernandez.
Good morning, Houston. Thank you for joining us today at the Realty Ruckus out of the White Picket Realty Studios. We are so glad to have our producer back. We missed you, BB, last Friday.
What's up, everybody?
We realized last Friday that every one of us is replaceable here. You guys can replace the host easily, right? And when we don't have a weatherman, we can always have one of our guests do the weather.
Whoa. Because I personally heard from quite a few people
that they missed you.
That the weather was actually the best part of the show.
I actually got
I don't know what you guys are doing over there.
I got a couple
but you need to step it
comments
up.
about that, actually. I got a couple people that were really sad to not have you that one show. But obviously, the show cannot happen without our producer. So, BB, we're glad you're back, and we're glad that we're back on the air.
I'm glad to be back.
It's it was one of those things where I was kind of lost that day. I was like, man, what do I do with my time? I'm supposed to be doing this radio show. Like, what do I do now? You know, you ever had those moments where you don't actually know what to do with yourself?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think I ended up going live and spent like 15 minutes just driving around the parking lot rambling and seeing if anybody would pay attention to me.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget that you can drop your comments below if you're on YouTube or Facebook. And today we're running the system old school, right?
Yeah, we're going old school today.
We tried going like next level digital and
we burned up my computer.
And we burned up BB's computer. So today we're going old school. We got the live feed from the phone, and we're on YouTube, and you should be able to see us and hear us clearly today. You don't have to worry about the Minecraft edition of Realty Ruckus this time. So again, make sure you drop all your comments below. Make sure you know that you can text us live by texting us at RR, isn't that what it is? Or by tweeting us at Realty Ruckus. Mm-hmm. And if you want to text us, it's 24587. You got to put the letter RR, and then you can text right into us. So again, we're happy to have you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a phenomenal show scheduled today, and I just want to thank everyone who showed up to our picnic this weekend. We had a great event, and
that was a ton of fun.
Man, it's crazy because the simplest events, the easier ones that you don't have to really spend a ton of hours setting up or bringing in extra special catering or anything like that. Sometimes those are the best events.
Whoa! Extra special catering was provided by
That's true.
Yours
That's
truly.
True. BB did spend the whole day cooking. So again, thank you very much for doing that, BB. Those were some phenomenal burgers. If you missed one of BB's burgers, you know what? We should actually start a restaurant called BB's Burgers. That just sounds right.
It does. It sounds good.
It has a good ring to it.
Yeah, I own a couple cafes here around town. BB's Cafe.
And you got BB's Donuts.
I got BB's Donuts. Yeah, yeah. I guess it's about time for a BB's Burgers.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But the picnic was phenomenal, you guys. We had a couple of agents just swing by and say hi. Thank you very much if you're watching today's show. We had all of our families. We had the dogs show up.
Oh yeah, man! Everyone, pets, everybody.
Everyone that is involved with Team WPR was there, as well as everyone who shares the love for who we are and what we do. So again, if you're watching, thank you so much for doing that. It was a phenomenal time, and we certainly appreciate it. How about the Texans winning? How about that?
That was phenomenal.
How awesome was that?
Incredible.
I haven't
win.
had that feeling in a little while. It was, I was kind of missing it. I didn't know what it felt like anymore.
You see, David got lucky because his Cowboys have somehow been doing good this season. And they've got Dak Prescott, who's been just miraculous.
Look at that smirk on his face.
Talk it up.
Look at that smirk on his face.
It's the truth. The guy.
I have loved the silence this season.
There's been no silence.
The Texans fans don't know what to say.
Right.
I've been praising Dak. I can't believe he's playing at the level that he's playing at. I mean, he's a rookie who's playing. He's like the number 2 or 3 rated quarterback in the entire league right now. I mean, that's a pretty big deal for a brand new rookie coming straight out of college, taking over a starting role for Tony Romo. Well, what are you guys going to do when Tony Romo wants to come back and play?
I guess it's up to Jerry Jones. But if it was my decision, he'd be gone.
I saw a meme that said Romo's back, and the coach is like, hey, go in there and just mess things up.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
But Houston managed to squeak out that win in overtime against a really bad Colts team, which makes me even more worried about where we're going.
Well, that's
now.
what I was saying. I was like, all right, we won, but that was the worst team in our division.
Yeah.
So it didn't really mean much, but I'm glad we won. It felt good to have that feeling, and I hope we can.
We
do
almost
that
lost,
again.
okay? So
that's
we could be
bad.
sitting here right now talking about how we lost to the worst
I
team in
wouldn't
the
have even
division.
brought it up. If we would have lost, I would just be like, all right, let's not talk about that.
And we'll skip that one for next time.
Let's skip that. Let's skip that completely and talk about how awesome our fantasy football league is going. I know you guys want to brag a little bit about it.
Actually, I think we got to go to break. Sorry, can't talk about fantasy football.
I guess I won't be able to tell everyone, all the listeners, about how I'm undefeated and just destroying people week after week.
Anyways, guys, stay tuned. We're going to be right back. Take a quick break. We have a great show planned for you.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you're interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com. Real quick.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can always live tweet us at Realty Ruckus. Again, that's at Realty Ruckus. You can also find us live on Facebook and YouTube, where you can comment live and we can answer your questions or just argue with you live on a show, whatever you want.
We do love to argue with people live on the show.
Absolutely.
That's really one of the best things we do. Actually.
And one of our favorite segments, we're going to just skip it today. No, I'm kidding. David, how's the weather out there?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't skip this segment, guys. Come on, the people would revolt. Actually,
give the people what they want.
Today is going to be a little bit hot, high in the 90s, and then low in the 80s. But for the rest of this week, we're going to have a cold front come through, and the highs will actually be in the mid to low 80s and lows in the high 60s. So that's going to be awesome.
Woo, we got a great week ahead, you guys. I hope you guys are making plans to go out to the park or do something outdoorsy and enjoy this weather as much as you can. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about something that's really, really been bugging me recently. And I know I only have one total session to rant about things that bug me, right?
We didn't let you rant during your rant, so let's give you a rant.
I need my rant, all right? I need the ability to tell you what grinds my gears.
So for those of you who don't know Alan, he bottles up these rants, and he usually comes into the morning meetings and does them, but we've made him cut that out so that the meetings can be faster. So that's why I told him on the radio.
For efficiency reasons.
We said on the radio show, we'll let you do your rant the first segment of every single radio show. And we came in today and we talked too much about picnics and football.
Yes, you talked
during the break
over all my rant. You didn't let me actually get it out.
During the break, Alan's bottle literally just the cap off his bottle just popped off, and he was like, "No, I need to give everyone this rant."
I have to talk about these
ladies
things.
and gentlemen, I present to you Alan's rant for today.
Thank you very much. I'm here all day. Here's the thing. I recently found out something that was really startling. All right, and here's the deal. How many of us who are in real estate? I'm just gonna ask you guys a question. How many of us who are in real estate shop at stores like Home Depot or Lowe's, or tell our clients to go shop at stores like Home Depot or Lowe's? I would say that nearly everyone, right?
I would agree. I mean, that's going to be your number one destination for any kind of home
It's
stuff.
the easiest place to go shop for. It's the easiest place. I even know realtors who at closing give their clients these gift cards to Lowe's.
That's very
or Home
true,
Depot,
yeah.
so
I've
that
seen
in
that
case
a
they need
lot.
to go buy some stuff, they'll go do it there, right?
Yeah.
It's a very common gift that realtors
my wife
use.
just recently did it
Yes.
to help a client out with her fridge.
Exactly. So it happens all the time. That's just part of what they do. Here's the thing. Up until recently, Lowe's used to give realtors the ability to send their clients after closing, right? In exchange for the client's contact information, they would send their client a 10% coupon on their purchase.
Oh, okay, kind of like the moving coupons they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you could do because Lowe's used to be involved with NAR, the National Association of Realtors.
Yeah.
Right. And so what they used to do is they used to give every realtor the ability to provide that at closing, so that when you close, you would go into their system, you would type in your client's contact information, and then Lowe's themselves would email them a 10% off coupon.
Gotcha.
Right? So that was a really nice little perk, because you could be like, hey, I'm going to send you this coupon after closing. Anything that you want to buy, you're going to get a discount by working with me through our partnership with Lowe's. That was a reason for using a licensed professional. That was one of the things that that was in our tool bag.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Now, recently, Lowe's decides that they're not going to do that anymore. Instead, they invest in a company called Solo Pro. Now, I looked up Solo Pro, and it's now called Golden Key. If you want to look it up, it's goldenkey.com.
Let's get that down in the comments so that our listeners can go up and look that up.
So let me just explain what goldenkey.com is and
Okay.
why I wanted to rant about this.
This is completely brand new to me, so I have no idea.
I wanted to rant about this because this is one of the most annoying things that happens in our industry, and it really grinds my gears, because Golden Key is a real estate brokerage that's based on flat fee commissions.
And Lowe's purchased them.
And Lowe's now has a partnership or some ownership with them.
Yeah.
So now they took away, basically Lowe's is saying to all licensed agents, hey, we don't want to work with you guys anymore. You're the reason why our business has increased. You're the reason why we get so many of these referral clients and why people come over after closing.
Yeah.
But now we don't care about you. Now we're going to throw you, away. And we're going to go work with this company, and we're going to make it easier for a client to not use a licensed professional and just list their house through us for $100 or $200.
Wow.
So it's really annoying, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to cut out the realtor.
Yeah.
They're promoting this website to cut people who make a living off of helping people by selling their houses professionally.
Yeah.
Instead, go here and pay this silly little fee. And
what is the fee?
It's $200.
Well, no,
200?
it's actually kind of did it a little bit different than other flat fee brokerages, I guess you could say, because they broke down the fees for the type of activities they'll do. So for like just say buyer up on home search alerts, it's $25. To do a tour of a home, I guess, with a buyer's agent, it's $50. To price a home is $50. So
this is a very much a la carte.
It's
very
a la carte services.
Very, very just fee schedule.
But right now, buyers don't have to pay anything to go look at a house if you go with a realtor.
No.
So I'm trying to figure out why would you say, okay, well, there's 4 houses I want to look at. Let me go spend $100, or I can just get a realtor to represent me, and then the seller will pay that.
Because that's the thing. That's what annoyed me about the whole situation. They're not actually really helping anybody.
Yeah.
This is not an actual real service that they're going to provide to the client. They're not
Yeah.
actually interested in helping a client make their transaction, their buying or selling transaction, any easier or any better. They're actually impeding a real professional from helping them and cutting us out, cutting us real estate agent professionals out of the picture. And decided not to work with NAR anymore, and therefore, because of that, that's what my whole rant is about. I've decided to boycott this place. I mean, we buy so many materials from there for all of our rehabs, all of the properties that we do. We buy thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars
from the
worth.
big box stores, Lowe's has the more unique items.
Yeah.
They look a little bit nicer than Home Depot's items. Unfortunately, though, that's really terrible. I can't believe they're actually doing that. That really surprises me.
So if you saw this post on my Facebook page, it wasn't something that I totally made up. I did share it from another friend of mine, Natalie. But it's true. I've looked it up. I've researched it. It's totally true. I am sincere about boycotting this place. I've already asked my wife, and I sent you an email too. You know, if we order anything, definitely not going through Lowe's, because I just feel like something like this just is a I don't know. It's an insult to the people that have helped them build the business.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. I find that so surprising, and it's it kind of tells you maybe Lowe's business model is hurting. Because they're reaching for something else.
Definitely. Anyway, unfortunately, I've run out of rant time. I have more to say, but we do have to move on. So, guys, thank you very much. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. We have a phenomenal show planned out. Can't wait to talk to you more about it.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching @Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can live tweet us at Realty Ruckus. Again, that's at Realty Ruckus. You can also find us on Facebook and YouTube live, where you can comment on the show and we can answer your questions as the show goes along. Now, right now we're having a really interesting discussion. We found this new service called Golden Key, which is also partly owned and operated by Lowe's. Lowe's is the hardware company, building supply store. And I'm actually kind of stunned by it. I wasn't aware of it. I didn't know anything about it. And during the break, we started doing a little bit more research into the service. And a lot of it is just pure propaganda. It's just not true. Like David was going through their comparison between this is how Golden Key's agents do things, and this is how it'll be if you use a traditional agent. Do you want to go through that list real quick, David? Because there's so many lies in there. There really is so many lies.
It's really ridiculous what they're kind of trying to fool people into thinking they're getting, which it's much more valuable through a traditional agent. So they say Golden Key versus a traditional agent. So for Golden Key, you can tour homes on your schedule. And on the traditional side, you can only tour homes on your agent's schedule.
Which, at the end of the day, in order to meet TREC regulations, they have to use an agent to go show the home.
That's right.
So they're still going to be under the need of the agent's schedule, whoever's showing the home.
You know, here's something interesting. You can be an agent for Golden Key.
Yeah.
And you can get paid $25 to go show a house.
For one house.
For one house.
Yeah.
Tell me what successful agent in town that knows what they're doing that can give someone a good piece of advice would go show a house for $25?
I can't think of anybody except for maybe brand new agents.
The brand new agent who's never closed a transaction, who maybe has like 1 or 2 leases on their belt.
Yeah.
They may go open the door only, but if that client has a question regarding a crack on the wall or what the neighborhood is doing or trends or anything,
they won't be able to answer.
Maybe he's got
any
a
of that.
strange addition. What do you do about this or that? Can that agent that's charging $25 for opening that door answer any question?
No, and I think that's where it's a lot of the misleading, because you pay $25 to have somebody go show you a house, but that's not the whole part of showing a house. Like, an agent does have a lot of expertise in housing in general. They can explain to you. Example, if you buy a house on the water, an agent that knows about that's going to be able to explain to you what the rules are and what Texas law says about properties that are on the coastline. It's somebody who has no idea, who's just getting paid $25 to go open the door, they're not going to be able to explain any of that to you. So I'm struggling to find how this service actually makes a big difference. What is the other comparison? Because I know that a lot of the comparisons were just
Where
straight
are you seeing
propaganda.
those? I don't see those.
It's under like the buyers and sellers section, and it shows you how their agents compare to traditional agents. Another one is
I see.
Ask questions 24/7 via email, chat, and text. And they say versus a traditional agent that you can only ask questions from 9 to 5.
Okay.
I don't know any agent that only works 9 to 5.
Not a single agent in our office works from 9 to 5. Guys, I left the office at 8 p.m. last night.
Yeah.
And when I got home, one of our agents texted us saying, hey, I just got done showing a house. And it was like 9 or something, saying, hey, I just got done. And you know, it was a tough day, but I'm glad I did it because I formulated a great relationship with this client. So what they're trying to do is cut away from that, right? They're trying to keep anyone from being able to do that. I guess there is no more relationships in real estate and building trust and knowing who you're working with and knowing that you're being represented well to the best of someone's ability, or as a team like we work. You know, it's crazy that they're doing this. And I don't 9 to 5. I mean, come on, who in real estate really works 9 to 5?
I can't think of anybody who works 9 to 5. That's why I say this is, to me, just like straight propaganda. It's not true, because it says on there you have to look at houses on your agent's schedule. No, every single one of our agents, and I know all the other agents, you work around the client's schedule.
Yeah.
If your client can't see houses until 7 p.m., guess what? You're going out at 7 p.m., and if you have to be out till 10 p.m., then so be it. That's what time they can look at the houses.
It is what it is.
And if you have to ask questions, heck, when we get text messages and things at 11 p.m., midnight, if we can't answer it, we have a VA who can answer it. And if not, that question gets answered the very next morning, first thing.
Yep.
I don't see how they can claim that it's only 9 to 5 with a regular agent.
Guys, at 7 p.m. this morning, my VA had already knocked out at least 10 to 15 of my follow-ups completely. I mean, everything's done. You know what I mean?
What other comparisons are they making on there?
Commission required versus commission free. How does that even make sense? So traditional, they're saying commission is required. Golden Key, commission free. When you're a buyer, the seller pays the commission anyway.
Yeah, that's the other part I don't understand.
So
Why would a buyer
pay
to look at a house? Yeah.
They don't. It's just them not really even educating the buyer completely, because the buyer may not even understand. They're not paying for the commission anyway.
Okay, so supposedly they rebate the buyer's commission to the buyer. Like the buyer's agent commission, they'll rebate 3% to the buyer at closing.
And then but you have to pay all your little fees, I guess, in between. So I saw that's like they charge for transaction coordination, which I guess is taking you to closing and stuff. It's like $800.
Yeah.
And it's like $25 for each house that they show you. They basically fee you to death.
Yep.
And then they rebate that commission, but at the end of the day, you're probably getting back only maybe 1% of it at the most.
I mean, I think if you're a really well-educated buyer, you've bought 4 or 5 homes in your lifetime, you understand how things work. Maybe you used to have a license or whatnot. You know what you're doing. You're probably okay with not being represented wholly, at least, by a real estate agent. Maybe if you just have an attorney review your contract and make sure you're not getting into some something that you can't get out of, then you may be okay by going with a route like this. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you're going to try this route, you're going to end up in trouble. Because that other agent that's representing the seller, they're going to know what they're doing.
Here's my question. So when you go show a house, most times or I guess once you start the transaction, you have to have a representation agreement.
Yeah.
And now you become a fiduciary. And under TREC, the fiduciary has certain duties and responsibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when those duties and responsibilities cast a shadow and are bigger than what the a la carte selections are?
Yeah.
So the a la carte says you have to take to closing, you have to represent them.
So this is what happens with flat fee listing agents. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
And you guys can look this up on TREC as well. So what happens is, okay, there's all these flat fee listing companies that have sprung up in the last few years. And you know, it stinks that I have to talk about this because I know some of the brokers that do that, and some of them are friends of mine, and some of them are probably watching the show. So I do apologize if I hurt anyone's feelings, but
we won't say any names.
Here's the reality behind flat fee brokerages. I get it. You want to try to make it look like you're saving someone money, but the truth is you can't afford to properly market a home if you're only charging them $100 to list it.
Yeah.
You can't afford to run a marketing campaign. You can't afford to pick up all the phone calls that it takes. You know, on a listing between Brandon, myself, and the VA, we may spend 40 to 80 hours just on that listing itself. You know what I mean? So imagine, can that person actually do that for $95? You know what I mean? Negotiating, putting the contract in, marketing it, running a campaign, creating the flyers, everything that it takes to do it correctly.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But they're not claiming that they're going to do that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. They can't do that. So what happens when they start getting all those phone calls, they start getting all these offers, they start having to actually do some work. They can't actually do it. Here's the thing. They try to say, well, I'm not going to be the one picking up the phone calls. On the listing, they'll put contact the seller.
Which is not allowed.
That is not allowed.
Yeah.
By TREC regulations, you are supposed to represent that client.
Yeah, by having the listing, you have to have a representation agreement.
That's right.
And by having that representation agreement, it says that you have to negotiate all the
minimum amount of duties that you have to perform.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right? And if you're not performing those duties, then you are not actually you're breaking what you've agreed to do for that client.
Oh, and
you're breaking your fiduciary
for
duty.
anyone who doesn't believe that, I can tell you firsthand because I've been in that situation. That's actually why we stopped doing flat fee listings. I used to manage all the flat fee listings that came through the office.
We did those. So when we first opened up White Picket, we thought it would be a good idea to run a couple of those just to see if we get a bunch of listings in.
Yeah, we drum up some business, get some signs out. You know, that was the idea, and it worked. But the problem is, you start getting a lot of listings out there, and then you start getting inquiries and calls, and because you only got paid $100, that barely pays for you to put it into the MLS.
Yeah.
So you just send them over to the seller.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened to me, it was on two separate occasions. The seller went and spoke directly with the buyer's agent, and then they had a disagreement over option period. And they were saying, well, no, the option period is business days. And they were saying, and the agent was like, no, the option period is just days continuous.
Right.
And then they filed a complaint saying, well, how come their agent wasn't involved? And I said, hey, I'm just a flat fee agent.
Yep. And TREC
I don't have
doesn't
anything
care about that.
No, TREC said, nope, that's your fiduciary responsibility. And you're going to be responsible for the earnest money.
That's right.
Under your errors and omissions because you didn't
properly advise your client.
Absolutely.
You weren't there to protect him.
That's exactly what TREC told me.
So one of the things you can do if you don't believe what we're talking about, you can go on the TREC website. We can probably drop a link below, and there is a way for you to search who is getting penalized for these things.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It tells you everybody.
And the first one is probably a slap on the wrist. Hey, don't do it again. After that, you're losing licenses, you're getting fines, and it's not an easy thing to get out of once you started going down that road. So here's the thing. I get it. The market, because of new technology, the market is saying, why do we have to pay commissions? I get it. This is probably Lowe's answer to that. They're thinking, hey, it's time to cut out the agent. It's time for everybody to be able to buy and sell a home just using the internet. They don't need to have a person to help them, represent them, or whatnot, right? Isn't that what you think they're doing?
Yeah, but here's my opinion. Let's say you do want to cut out the agent. You still need somebody to review the contract. Because even if you're familiar with the contract as a buyer or as a seller, there's nuances in that contract that if you check the wrong box, down the road, and see, people always say, that's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
They don't look for the worst case scenarios. Everyone's always like, oh no, that happened to somebody else. That's not going to happen.
That won't happen to me.
Yeah, it's like the people who say, oh, I don't need home insurance. My house is never going to burn down.
Yeah,
that's so rare until their house is burned. It's the same situation here. As everyone says, okay, well, I don't really need that kind of representation until they need it. And then they're out there looking for it, and it gets more expensive. So at minimum, you're gonna have to have an attorney review everything, and an attorney charges $250 to $450 an hour to sit there and review your contracts for you to make sure you didn't make any mistakes in those nuances and in the little simple things.
If you really wanted to do things right, you'd have to hire an attorney for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, and I'm not saying we do the work of an attorney, but I think just understanding the contracts and understanding what loopholes there are and keeping our clients from falling into those loopholes. Imagine how much money an agent saves a client by keeping them out of trouble, out of a potential lawsuit. You know,
that's where I think that a lot of this gets really difficult, is because when you start going consumer direct to consumer, you start running into situations where you can have legal issues. And we're talking about major purchases. Not even cars can amount to this. I mean, a typical used car purchase, I'm guessing, is going to be somewhere in the $15,000 to $20,000 range.
Yeah.
And that's for a nicer mid-high end vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Houses, the average house in Houston is $230,000.
Yep.
That's a major purchase. You're having to put down at least $2,500 in earnest money on something like that you could potentially lose. And what happens when those people get into an argument? You know, they don't have any knowledge of the industry.
You know, I tell it like this, because sometimes I may go to a seller's appointment and they say, well, you know, why do I need an agent for? And I'm always like, well, you know, have you ever been in a lawsuit? Most people say no. Very rarely does someone say, yeah, I've been in a lawsuit, right? Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, all right, if they say no, then I'm like, well, have you ever watched, any of the law shows, like Judge Judy or any of those?
Yeah.
And I was like, would you ever go to a major lawsuit without an attorney? Would you represent yourself?
Yeah.
And they're always like, I was like, no, what do you do when you're in trouble? When you're in trouble with the law, what do you do? Well, I got to go find, a good attorney. Well, how do you find a good attorney? Well, they start telling me these kind of things that they have to do to find a good attorney, right? Yeah. I was like, why can't you just get represented by the first attorney you find, the cheapest one you can find? Well, I know I'm not going to win. Exactly.
There you go.
That's the point.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
So anyway, guys, we got to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service and an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you're interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepickettrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepickettrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can live tweet us at Realty Ruckus. You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook Live, where you can live comment on the show and we can chat with you and answer your questions live on the air. Now, we've been having a discussion about flat fee agents, about how the technology is changing and Lowe's, and we want to jump off of that for a second.
Yeah. I think we've ranted enough about
we've
Lowe's
kinda,
and why we're not going to buy stuff on there anymore. Right?
We've kind of put the nail in the coffin on that one. But what we do want to talk about is there was recently a landmark ruling, and it has to deal with a university here in Houston. And it's actually two universities that were fighting each other.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, it's two law universities that were fighting each other in court.
This is great. If you guys have never heard of this, we're going to drop the article below as soon as we're done talking about it. But it's really awesome because you're right. It's two colleges of law. And they're fighting it out, and it's all over trademark infringement. And here's the deal. So you know, once upon a time, we sent out a letter that said, hey, we're interested in buying your house, right? Because we were buying a lot of houses, renovating them and fixing them up and reselling them. But in that letter, we had some verbiage that said, we buy ugly houses, right? Now, somehow that letter got to the wrong hands, and all of a sudden we have, guess who? Homevestors, who owns the trademark of those few words, send us a letter and say, hey, if you use this letter again, you're going to be in some deep trouble.
Some deep doo-doo.
Yeah. We didn't really know how serious it was either, because we looked it up and we saw that, you know, they tend to try to bully.
And there was people fighting it, and there was cases that may prove that, you know, you could use the verbiage, that you couldn't actually just, you know, literally own those few words or whatnot. And you know, it was that, you know, we obviously stopped doing it because we didn't want to get into any trouble, but you know, we keep an eye on those kind of things. And then a few years down the road, we have, you know, White Picket Realty open up, and we create the logo and everything. And then somebody out of nowhere sends us a link from another company that opens up like 2 years later after we opened up, 2 or 3 years later, who actually took the logo and the name White Picket Realty out like in Kansas or something somewhere.
Tennessee, I think it's where
took the logo, took the colors, took everything, and literally like just copied the website and is running like, you know, a similar operation.
It looks just straight up White Picket.
Yeah, really. Like, there's that, you know, for the people that have actually researched us and will do some homework, they're like, oh my God, you guys have two offices? You guys have an office in Kansas or wherever it's at, you know? And no, it's not it at all. This is it's what we call trademark infringement, and that's why this report is so important, because originally the South Texas College of Law, right,
which has been their name since like the early 1900s.
Since
they've been
the
around
1920s,
forever.
They decide to change their name to Houston College of Law,
which to me is fine. They're based out of Houston.
Sure,
they're a law program. They didn't call themselves the University of Houston. It's just the Houston College of Law.
They didn't call themselves U of H College of Law. They call themselves Houston College of Law.
Yeah.
Right. So I think like you, it's fine. They're in Houston. They're a college of law. It makes sense. But what happens is U of H, University of Houston, says, wait a minute, that name sounds way too similar to our name, and now we're going to sue you. Right?
Yeah, well, they warned them before it ever happened. They said, look, if you change your name to Houston College of Law, that sounds way too much like University of Houston College of Law.
Yeah. Wait, did they change their colors too, or?
No, it's University of Houston Law Center, not even College of Law. I believe it's University of Houston Law Center. But they didn't change their colors or anything. But what they did do is they already pre-printed like koozies, pins, all their flyers, everything they had changed the name on, bumper stickers. I mean, they spent a fortune changing all that. Anyone who owns a business knows how expensive promo materials can be. Well, they had already ordered all of that. University of Houston says, no, we're going to sue you. They go to court, and it actually was really quick. I mean, this was only like 2 months. And the court, a federal court, ruled that the name was too similar, that it was misleading consumers, and that not only was it misleading, but that it was a potential confusion for consumers, and therefore forced the South Texas College of Law, Houston College of Law, to go back to its old name, which is a really big deal, because that means that for anyone else who's trying to enforce a trademark, you no longer have to be the exact words.
No, it just has to be a confusing.
Exactly.
It just has to be a confusing message to the consumer.
Yeah, and if you can prove using studies and focus groups and things like that to take into the court with you that it is misleading for the consumer, that's all you need. Yep. So it's not even about infringing directly on a trademark. Now it's become more about, is this going to confuse consumers?
Yep.
And if it is, then forget about it.
Well, and it helps to now have some case law, because now you can revert to that and show that. So
no, absolutely.
All these things make a big difference into how other cases are decided.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
and it also, if you're looking to go to a law school, now you know which program is probably a little bit better.
So true.
Dang, that sucks.
So true.
Burn.
But it helps that U of H had a mega attorney. His name is Tony Busby. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. I chat with him every once in a while. But this guy is known for doing a really good job, and obviously he helped with making sure that this thing went right. But it was cool. It was cool to see this, and we thought we'd share with you, because in case you ever run into that scenario, or in case you ever thinking, hey, I like that name, let me use that. That's probably the wrong way to go, and don't do it. And at some point, it may not be now, but later you'll get into trouble.
the other day, there was a new wholesaler or a new person trying to get into the investment industry, and they were putting together their marketing pieces. I won't mention any names, but they were online, and they were saying, hey, what do you guys think about these marketing pieces? And it said, like, ugly house buyer on there. And somebody said, hey, I think that's trademarked. And they responded by saying, well, no, they have trademark we buy ugly houses. I'm not using that. I'm using ugly house buyer, which is different. Well, if you look at this case, then you need to be very, very careful.
That's right.
Because the case law right now says that they can sue you and they can win, despite the fact you're not using the exact phrase. Yep. If it's misleading enough to a consumer,
that's right.
They're going to find you that you're in violation and force you to change your name.
And here's the thing. It's a lot of that comes down to who can prove the most, and therefore it just comes down to who can spend the most money.
Yeah,
it
really does.
And if the other party who is suing you can actually put a case study together, a group of people, and bring in a study and show that, they're probably going to win.
Well, and you also have to remember there's a thing called trolls that exist.
Trolls, yes.
Troll companies, and like patent trolls. There's also trademark trolls. And unfortunately, I know
there's also Facebook trolls.
I know people who own Homevestors franchises. There's not an offense to them, but Homevestors overall is a troll to the investment industry because they have lawyers on staff that's all they do is go after people who infringe on their trademarks. Sure. And I mean, down to like,
actually,
they don't want your bandit signs to be.
A large portion of the actual like company income comes from suing other.
Because they get
investors.
them to sign agreements that say, well, I used it and now I'm going to give you 10% of my wholesale fees for the next year as to make up for me using your trademark.
Some of those silly agreements, and know people that have even signed them.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately,
have regretted every day for doing it.
And you know what? That's one thing that we can be very grateful for. There's somebody out there who was fighting a case at one point against them, and they advised us. They said, "Hey, whatever you do, don't sign those agreements. Like you're going to regret it forever if you sign that agreement."
Yeah.
And we did it. We didn't sign the agreement. We took their advice, and we changed all of our marketing to not include anything that could potentially be copyright or trademark infringement.
Sure.
And we've been okay since then. We haven't gotten any more letters. But if you want to be the guy that wants to be the tough guy, just know that now the case law is against you.
Well, and not only is it against you, but you better have some mega deep pockets if you're gonna fight a case like that.
And just to give you guys an idea, you're probably looking at over $100,000 in legal fees to take that to court.
Yeah, that would be like
you better be making more than $100,000 by using that in order to fight it, and chances are you'll lose.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because I see those little bandit signs out there all the time, like. And instead of coming up with an original message, these wholesalers, these new wholesalers, I know they're brand new because they obviously haven't researched this.
Yeah.
And they'll put "We buy ugly houses." Right.
Yep.
And I sometimes I just want to pick up the phone and be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" You know, like
you're setting yourself up for legal problems.
Like you just started. I get it. You're throwing out bandit signs because you want to buy a house or two and maybe wholesale it out to an investor.
Yep.
But you're setting yourself up from the beginning to get sued because you haven't done any research, you haven't talked to anyone or consulted with anyone on whether that verbiage would be good for you or not.
And you know what? I'm so glad that you brought that up because a lot of our listeners, they might be wholesalers or they may be thinking about getting into it, or they may be realtors who said, oh, let me try this out.
Yeah.
A bandit sign can get you sued,
Yeah.
okay? We forget that bandit signs are technically billboards.
Yeah.
And just because you write
Small
them,
billboards.
just because you write them by hand and they don't look professionally printed or anything, doesn't mean that it's not a marketing piece that you can be sued for. Yeah. And I've seen home investors actually take a picture of people's bandit signs, send them a demand letter saying, cease and desist immediately,
or
else. And then if you keep doing it, they're going to start demanding that you pay them for their losses.
Sure.
So you got to be really careful if you're doing that. Even a bandit sign can get you in trouble. It's not about just letters. It's not about billboards or commercials. It's something as simple as a bandit sign can put you in that situation.
Well, a bandit sign, a Facebook post.
A Facebook post.
You know, anything on social media, anything that can be tracked down to you. I actually called a guy one time and told him, hey, you know, you should probably watch out for that. Unless you actually own a franchise, you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I have a burner phone. How are they going to track me? I'm like, dude, seriously. Like, if someone wants to track you, they'll track you.
I can't believe he even used the term burner phone.
Yeah.
That guy's been watching too much Breaking Bad. Yeah.
Anyway, guys, we got to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is David over at White Picket Realty, and I wanted to tell you about my friends over at Plans Express who can save you the headache of running your own permits. These guys are committed to offering a one-stop solution for all your plan and permit needs. They're proudly serving their friends and neighbors in the Houston surrounding areas, and they offer great service at an exceptional value. With dedicated professionals ready to serve, contact them today at 832-675-6217.
What do you love about White Picket?
I love that we work together as a team.
I love being professional while having fun.
I love the innovative approach we take every day.
I love the support we get to grow our business.
We love White Picket.
And I love empowering the next generation of realtors to live life by their own design. If you're looking to grow, come grow with us. Email join@teamwpr.com. Again, that's join@teamwpr.com.
Stop searching and start staying in the know with our Houston Real Estate Events page on Facebook. Follow us by searching at Houston Real Estate Events to stay up to date on the latest events for real estate in the Houston area. If you are interested in having your event on our page, please email me at david@whitepicketrealty.com. Again, that's david@whitepicketrealty.com. Non-paid events only. One more time, find us on Facebook at Houston Real Estate Events, and we'll see y'all at the next one.
Hey Houston, this is Alan Hernandez, and I want to remind you guys to visit our friends over at Quest IRA to learn everything there is to learn about investing with your IRA. Now, if you haven't been over there recently, you have to check them out. They have free educational classes, networking opportunities, the ability to tap into $1 billion for your real estate investing deals. These are the guys to know when it comes to learning about this kind of stuff. You want to make sure you visit them and check them out over at www.questira.com. Again, that's questira.com.
And we are back on Realty Ruckus. Remember that you can live tweet us at Realty Ruckus. Again, that's at Realty Ruckus. You can also find us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live, where we can answer your comments and questions live on the show. Now, we've been having a lot of really good discussions today. We want to jump into another article that we found that's really, really interesting because, as we all know, oil is in a slump right now.
Yeah.
And everyone keeps saying the slump's going to end, the slump's going to end. Most economists agree that if it does end, it'll be closer to the fourth quarter of next year or at earliest the third quarter.
People have been saying that for a year or two already.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You know.
So, but there's a lot of things that show you that it's definitely still on a downfall. There's all the campuses out in Energy Corridor that people are moving back to downtown.
Yeah.
You've got like 120,000 square feet vacant that they're trying to sublease. So things are getting bad in the oil industry. They're staying bad. I wouldn't say getting bad. They're staying bad. But we have to think about how those things are going to affect housing and the trends that those are going to have and the effect that this oil slump is going to continue to have on the Houston housing market. So somebody actually put together a really good article, and we wanted to go over that with you guys.
Yeah, so it's an article in bizjournals.com, and we'll drop the article below for you guys to review it a little later. But what they're giving us are 3 trends to watch for in Houston's housing market amid the oil slump. Now, these are things that, it's kind of funny, BB. We've actually talked about these things.
We've mentioned a lot of them before.
I feel like this is an article that we could have written ourselves because we brought this up, just off of our own experience and what we're encountering on everyday basis, everyday business, and seeing what our agents go through on selling, houses, or even selling our own houses, our product, or actually the other thing, having some of them not sell.
Absolutely.
And we're experiencing that for the first time ever in our investment career, and not really understanding exactly why until you start digging into what the economy is doing, why and how it's changing and how it's affecting us as a whole. So the one thing that they say is home builders closely follow the price difference between the existing and new home markets. Here's the thing. Home builders have this deal where they're only going to want to build when there's demand. Now, if there's, that just makes sense. A lot of this is common sense, but it's kind of funny when you actually read it, when you actually see it on paper, it kind of sits in a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I remember, at one point before the oil slump, home building was just skyrocketing. It was
people were building everywhere.
Everywhere that you could go.
You could pull up a map search on HAR of the museum district, and there was, I think, 80 or 90 active properties that were under construction. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about within a quarter-mile area. So we're saying like two new houses on every single street that was out there. It was crazy.
So what they're saying is there's generally like a 25 to 35% gap, like a difference between new home prices and existing homes.
Yeah.
And usually that gap has like a steady increase. In a good market, you kind of start seeing that gap increase just slightly. It's not crazy, but you know that it stretches towards the 35% in a good market. What we're seeing right now is that it's stopped. There is no more growth on that.
So there's not as much of an advantage for these new home builders, so they're kind of laying back now.
Yeah, think about it. If they can't sell their houses for a premium, what's the point?
Yeah, well, what's interesting though is that because that gap is closing, new homes are becoming a better investment than an existing home, because you can buy something that's in perfect condition. It was just built with today's building standards, as opposed to buying something remodeled. And granted, a lot of remodels are to the stud remodels, but it's never going to be the same as a brand new home.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what this article is saying, it seems like we've kind of gotten to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
We've hit the bottom, and so we're not. They say we're not out of the woods yet, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see that, when we have buyers that are looking for a house, in some way or another, they always end up going towards the new home.
Yeah.
Because for $300,000, they can buy a castle versus what they can buy, for $300,000 in a neighborhood that's already established.
Yeah, and not only that, but that's one of our rules is that if there's new construction around and there's an opportunity for a rehab, we need to be at least 30% lower on price than that new construction.
Yeah.
Never that makes sense. That's the gap. That's the natural gap there.
And we've unfortunately gone through that where we've said, well, no, we're going to mac out this house and make it so much better than a new construction, and then we're going to be able to sell for almost the same, not the same, almost the same as a new construction. And guess what? At the end of the day, you're still 20 to 30% lower because that's the value prop that you have to give the buyer. They have to say, oh, okay, well, I'm buying an older house, but I'm also getting it at 70 cents on a dollar or 80 cents on a dollar
nicer
compared to a new construction, and it's much nicer.
Yeah. That's how you can sell something that's close to new construction. But if you're rehabbing something very close and you're going to compete with new construction on same price point, you're at a big disadvantage.
Huge.
Yeah, so for anybody out there who's thinking about doing a rehab, make sure you're looking for that. Look around and see what is new construction going for? Because just because you have comps for your remodel from the last year, a lot has changed over the last year.
Yeah, and I suggest, I do this when I'm doing my research, make sure that you do like a 1 mile radius at least. And if you can go just a little bit further without crossing, major highways, then go a little bit further. But check what new construction within at least 1 mile is doing, how it's being priced, and what the product is. And if it's a similarly sized product, you're in trouble if you think you're going to compete with that.
Or just how much inventory there is as well.
I mean, if there's 100 active new construction homes and you think you're going to sell yours first,
better get out of there.
You're probably in bad shape.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more with that.
So it's definitely something to look out for. Number two, they talk about luxury home sales slowing down, and that's without a doubt true. We see it.
Absolutely,
we see it in every one of our listings.
Anyone who's had a conversation with me at any networking event over the last 3 months knows that I keep telling people, you need to stay under 300 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out. You know, it's kind of funny when we were, doing really, really well in the home luxury sales market, people started getting into it. And I remember we were doing bus tours and showing people what, the luxury listings that we had or the luxury renovations that we were doing, because we were doing really well at them. And then all of a sudden we hit this oil slump, and what happens? Well, there's no more selling luxury homes. People are a little bit more adverse to buying anything right now because they don't know when they're going to lose their job.
Major slowdowns.
Major increase on days on market. You know, things that used to sell within 1 week are now taking, 100 to 200 days. It's insane what's happening out there. Third, home builders don't want to build where there's a high supply of homes. I mean, we kind of just talked about that. That's generally the case. But what they're saying is home builders are only going to look for areas with demand. And that just makes sense.
Yeah, so basically what that means is they're going to stay out of areas that the main people who live there and the main industries in those areas are oil.
Yeah.
So like energy corridor. Why is it called the energy corridor?
It's kind of funny.
Because it's oil based.
So we had a seller try to sell a property to us recently, and when I was explaining these kind of things to him, he's telling me, well, we're in the energy corridor. This area has always been great. It's always appreciated. I'm like, hang on a minute there.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? And I'm showing him all the statistics, and I'm saying, look at what's happening here. Yes, your house could be worth, and he was thinking his house was worth about $400. Yes, your house could be worth about $400,000. But look at this. Around the corner, there's a $420,000 house that's brand new. Do you really think you're going to get $400 on yours first before they get $420 on theirs?
Nope. Got to be 30% under.
You see what I mean? And some of these things don't make sense because people don't understand that the economy affects sales prices of homes. And right now in energy corridor, don't expect to get the same ARV after repair value on a rehab as you did a year or two ago.
Yeah, so what this is saying that in Houston, on average, areas that are not energy dependent, that are not dependent on oil sales, right? So they're looking at areas like the Heights.
Yeah.
They're looking at areas like the Medical Center. Where the industry is not oil.
Yeah.
And on average, those are having about 2.2 home sales a month, as opposed to areas where energy is dependent. Energy corridor, Sugarland has actually gone down to 1.7 sales per month.
Look at that.
And they're anticipating that to continue to drop as more people have to move to the downtown campuses because these exterior campuses on the outside of town are shutting down.
Yeah.
They can't afford to keep them open.
And what they're actually saying is, and part two, the second point they made is what's actually selling right now is smaller home lots, which means those in downtown, like the townhome lots that BB's mentioning, and then also the far out, what you would call Timbuktu
areas.
Entry-level suburban homes.
Yeah, that makes more sense. And that's where you get the most bang for your buck. Anyway, we're out of time, you guys. Let's talk a little bit more about the events that we have coming up so that our viewers can stay in touch with us and come out and hang out and network. What do we have coming up?
Yeah, so we do have Quest. First up, by the end of this month, we have Quest IRA Fright Night, which is one of their largest. I think it's the largest mixer they have in the year, right?
You guys,
400 people.
You can't miss Quest IRA.
So much fun, too.
I mean, this is one of their best events all year. This is one of the ones I don't miss. Make sure you guys make some time to come out. Wear your costumes because everyone else will be wearing theirs.
Absolutely.
And it's just, it's free food, free everything. It's just a night of having fun and meeting other like-minded people who are in real estate and are looking to retire rich.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I'm looking to do that, so I'm going to be there. So make sure you guys join us.
Yeah, so that's going to be Thursday, October 27th, and that's from 6 to 10 p.m., and that's at Noah's event venue out in Katy, Texas. The address for that venue is 21402 Merchants Way. Make sure you find your tickets on Eventbrite, or you can go to the Facebook event page and also get to Eventbrite that way.
I think you can just search Quest Fright Night, and it'll pop up right on
Can we
Google.
drop a link below?
Yeah, we'll drop a link. And
we'll drop them for you guys.
Just stay up to date on the Houston Real Estate Events page, and that's going to be where we post all the events.
Let's drop a link to that.
Yeah.
And we'll post all of the events there. What other events do we have? We're running out of time.
So the next one real quick coming up is Realtors Retire Rich. So, realtors, they got to be everything, advertising, accountant, but they forget about themselves.
Wear every hat. You wear every single hat of a business as a realtor, and then you forget that at some point you're done. You don't want to work anymore. You're 65, 70 years old, and you're tired, and you don't want to go out and show 5 houses today because you don't have the energy. So you want to retire, and you forgot, oh, wait, I forgot to stash away a little money, put it into an IRA, and invest it into some real estate, right? And now you retire broke. So we want to fight that. We want to counter that. We want to show you guys how to retire rich. Make sure you reserve your ticket by coming to our event.
And I'll post all the info on Houston real estate events. I'm posting the page link now. Check it out. We'll see you there.
We have a bunch of other events, guys, but we are unfortunately out of time. Thank you so much for joining us on today's show. Don't forget that Friday we're here back at you again from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. We have a great show planned out for you guys, and we'll see you then. Have a great day.
This has been the Realty Ruckus. Make sure and join us every Tuesday and Friday for new episodes. Find us on YouTube and Facebook for replays of previous episodes. And as always, keep elevating yourself and keep up your ruckus. Thanks for listening. Realty Ruckus has been brought to you by Smart Pig Media Productions.